What's up, friends? Welcome to Studio Wesley Live, our weekly hangout for connection and community. I'm Derek Scott, hanging out with y'all, and gonna have a great panel tonight, and it's just gonna be really, really fun. So we're gonna have some opening questions real quick, and present our panel tonight. So let's start with let's start with Neil. Neil and Samuel, but Neil, here's the opening question: What is the last fast food restaurant to go? Like the last fast food restaurant that could go. Like the or how do I should have framed this question better. If all of the fast food restaurants went but one, yes. What is the one fast
So,
food restaurant left?
so
Yes.
you're asking me what my penultimate fast food restaurant that would be, where if I had to burn down all the others, the
Yes.
one my ride or die.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, um,
Or the meteor's gonna hit all of the fast food restaurants except one.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with um, either. All right, so I'm gonna quantify fast food by saying it has to have a drive-through, because part of
Of
me
course.
wants to say
Of
like
course.
Asian
Of course.
takeout. I want to say Asian takeout places because
No.
like you can get those relatively quick, but they don't count. So Zaxby's. Zaxby's. That's
Wow.
mine.
Zaxby's is last.
Yeah,
Oh,
that has to be the
know.
last one, man.
I don't know. After they got rid of their fried mushrooms, I don't know. I was
Yeah,
offended.
but they're not as homophobic as Chick-fil-A. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
I
I don't
get
get a dose of self-loathing every time I eat Zaxby's. It's also one of like,
I know it's not my time to speak. The reason you were going to Zaxby's was for the fried mushrooms. I've never heard that take
that's
before.
also
I
insane.
have not introduced you yet, Samuel. So,
I just had to ask.
Neil, glad you're here. Samuel, what's the fast food restaurant that's left?
I would also I have to make fun of Derek a little bit more because we did have a joke earlier when I was like, what's the question going to be? And we almost went back and forth. And it seems like you weren't actually as prepared for the question as you thought you were going to be.
I had the
Because
question in my brain. I had the question in my brain.
it was
As it is
getting it from ear
often,
to here is always the
things are
hardest
in my
part.
brain, but they're not necessarily like out in the world. Like, and I don't have words for it. I just have feelings
The
in my brain.
process is the problem.
Yes. And answer the question, Samuel.
I was like solidly, I was gonna say Wendy's because like Wendy's isn't the greatest at any of its things, but has all of the things. You know, you can get a
Mm,
lot of things. Like if you get a biggie bag, you're getting everything else. But
mm.
Zaxby's was a really good answer, and it's kind of making me change mine. I think I'm still gonna say Wendy's because I don't want to have the same answer as someone else, and because I stand by my point. But Zaxby's is such a good take.
Beautiful, beautiful. This is where I wish Nando's, which is not a restaurant, a fast food restaurant in the States, but it is outside the States. And part of this is like, I saw Ashra's comment about India, and I was like, Nando's in South Africa, that would be a great restaurant, but we don't have it in the States. So, and they also don't have a drive through, so I can't use that. So here's my answer: Bojangles. Bojangles, straight up. Like if the meteor is taking every other fast food restaurant out, I'll be fine because I can go to Bojangles and get a fried chicken fillet. I just eat the fillet. I don't need any bread. I don't need any toppings. I just eat that fried fillet from Bojangles. My God, y'all have no idea how that got me through General Conference. Okay, with that, um, yeah, we're gonna have a great show tonight. I'm so excited. Neil, Sam, it's
There
gonna
are
be good.
vegetarian options at Wendy's. I would like that to be known for the comment because
There
they, I
are
think, have a salad.
they have a salad, they have fries, and they have um, uh, they have fries.
Water.
They do have water, and
The
water is.
paper the straws come in. You know, it's
I mean, if people who like ketchup with the. No, we're not picking on vegans and vegetarians. Sorry, that was just bad. So let's just bail on this and let's go ahead and go in to highlights of the week. Let's go. So y'all know how it goes. Highlight of the week. It's our weekly conversation where folks in the panel bring a highlight or sometimes a low light from the world. Sometimes it's from the nation. Sometimes it's just from right around the corner in the neighborhood. But we bring it to the table because we want the Studio Wesley universe to know about it. So, Sam, we're going to start with you. What's your highlight of the week for this week?
If you haven't seen the new Spider-Man trailer, turn off the live stream, watch it, and come back. It's only 2 minutes. And Derek, I know you're going to be mad, but it's important. It is very important everything. I love this trailer. The day it was released, they, instead of doing a normal trailer release, they released snippets of it throughout the day at different points, which was Marvel trying a new thing, trying to get the news throughout the whole day. And then the final trailer dropped. And guys, the trailer is amazing. I always get hyped about superhero things. I'm a huge comic book nerd, but this was, I think, the hypest trailer I've ever seen. Regardless of the project, I love Spider-Man. I'm excited for it. But the trailer itself, I've probably watched it like a dozen times at this point. And it is unsanctioned. And yet, if you did, I personally wouldn't be mad. I love this trailer so much.
I would have some feelings personally if people stopped to go watch that. But who cares about my feelings? So
it's so good. Tom Holland is getting a serious, grounded Spider-Man. He's a little sad, and sometimes that's the best for comic books. Sadie Sink's character has still not been revealed. It's probably Jean Grey. I can talk about that ad nauseum. I have a lot of thoughts on it. And it looks really, really perfect. And all the stuff in it, it really pays homage to some of the best comics that he has, and it just makes me really, really hyped. So I have lots of thoughts on this, but I've been thinking about it since it dropped.
Okay, Sam, I look forward to you sending me the text with the link so that I can watch this Spider-Man trailer. I think Neil literally just left to go watch the Spider-Man trailer, which is
I guess I have to keep talking about Spider-Man,
Hello?
Derek. I guess that's what that means.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you, Neil.
All right, cool. My webcam just decided to die, so I'm still here. But hey, benefit of doing it live. I can still answer when it's my turn.
We can see you backstage, though.
You can see me backstage?
Yeah.
Oh, this is weird. Well,
actually, no. Actually, wait. There we go. You're back.
Hey, look at that. It's turned off and on again.
That's great. Okay. I mean, Neil, you could have just lied and said, I actually went to go watch the trailer.
I've already seen it. I was not
Neil, I know you've seen the trailer.
Yeah.
I know
Come
you've
on,
seen the
man.
trailer.
Gosh. Yeah, I guess I'm just behind. So, Sam, I look forward to you sending me a text with the trailer so that I can watch it later. And I commit that if Sam sends me the trailer, friends, I will watch that trailer.
I can also send you like the 45-minute breakdown if you want all the Easter eggs and stuff. I'll also send that to you because I think you're signing up for both now.
I don't know if I'm signing up for the 45-minute, but I really appreciate you bringing this, because usually I bring movies to the table, so I appreciate like sharing that wealth and like other people bringing the movies to the table. So thank you. Yes, Allison, you are correct. I did promise to watch the Superman trailer. I did. Y'all can take that to the bank. You're only going to get about 5 cents for that, but yes, you can take that to the bank. So Sam, thank you for that highlight this week. Solid. Neil, your highlight this week.
Yes, my highlight is a follow-up, which I feel like I've done a few follow-ups to my highlights, but and it actually is a highlight this week. And I actually, for once, had a hard time picking a highlight, but I think the other one I'll save for later. So my highlight, going back however many months ago, I was bringing up this thing called The Block, which is an outdoor food hall that they had been building in Jacksonville, just off of like sort of Gate Parkway area, just shy of the town center, past the IKEA. And The Block, like I said, outdoor food hall. It's got a dog park as well. There's another little park for like kids to play, and it's got a lot of like great restaurants, mainly like all local places. I don't think there's any like straight up chains there or anything like that. It's places like Chancho King. I think Bearded Pig has another location. There's a small Mediterranean spot, and it's super cool. It officially opened on Saturday, which was yesterday by my last count. But on last Monday, I got to go visit it before it was open because they were having an industry-only preview night. So, it was a lot of bartenders and chefs and owners and operators. And, I got to walk around, have a gander and, grab a little bit of food and hang out with one of my coworkers, Corey. And then I actually sort of was in the area today, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'll go swing by and see how it was. And it was packed full of people. I mean, packed. There are people parked on places they should not have been parked, because that is like how slammed it was. And I was like, cool, not going there. I'm just going to go home. But it's really awesome that it's open. I think it's a great third space for people, and especially like families and, students and whatnot, to hang out at it. Jacksonville hasn't really had one of those before. I think the Landing was not quite that, but like, you know, the landing was that sort of spot for people for a minute, and then that died, and so now we have the block, and I'm really excited about it.
Wow. I have feelings. Like, I'm excited that the place exists. Like, I really am. I think it's a really great idea. I just wish it was closer to like the core.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's out there in like corporate wasteland, you
It
know what I
totally-
mean? It's not near all of the cool things in the city, but at least it's nice that there's something cool out in corporate wasteland.
It's just like I got saved, and like so that, like going back to Gate Parkway Town Center like feels like I've got to go back to my old ways and my old life, and I don't know. You kind of want to like keep going in your new life. You know, I'm making a joke, by the way, friends. I am not equating the cement concrete mall that is St. John's Town Center with not being saved. I would never do something like that. There are many other things that I would compare not being saved to, but not that. Okay, my joke isn't landing. So
I mean, listen, I'd say capitalism at this point is certainly outside of God's light. So, you know, it's like we could definitely make that argument.
Capitalism and the destruction of third spaces are not in the kingdom of God.
It's a fallen world, friends. So it's what it is. It is a fallen world. Yes, full of capitalism.
One could say it's a fallen kingdom. Jurassic World 2.
Wow, I haven't seen it. And what's really weird is that I was someplace this past week, and I'm always in a place and I can't ever remember. I was someplace and somebody was talking about Jurassic Park, and I was like, and they like made this whole thing about it, and I was like, I haven't seen it, and they're like, you didn't miss anything. Like they spent 3 whole minutes talking about it, and I was like, I haven't seen it. Like, you didn't miss anything. Like, okay, Neil, thanks for that highlight. I will consider, not making any promises, but I'm going to consider going to check out the block because some of my friends are out there, got friends out there doing some really cool stuff. So, okay, so I will now go to my highlight, which is a little, I mean, it's a highlight, but it's a highlight because of a low light. So this week we got news of what some would call an icon for farm worker rights, for sure, for civil rights more broadly, Cesar Chavez. We got news that he is not as heroic as people thought he was. This is a man that led several sort of movements that highlighted workers' rights in the United States and was really effective in that. And many of the rights for workers that currently exist is because of some of the initiatives that he pushed in the movement that he led. But we found out that he was essentially abusing women and girls in his movement, and there's lots of stories about that and news coverage. I think it was a New York Times article that broke it, and Nora Hernandez. I think it's Nora Hernandez. Is it Nora Hernandez? Is that the primary
the person they're switching the name of?
Yeah,
I didn't know you were going to do this one. I can't remember her name.
I'm a bad person for not knowing her name because she is a hero. But the highlight that I'm bringing is that Ava DuVernay, who is a filmmaker and producer, she wrote a Substack post this week that really was trying to sort of help us wrestle with this moment when we find out that our heroes are not heroic, that our heroes are broken, that our heroes, they don't just make mistakes, but often our heroes are deeply flawed, and yet they do things that do help humanity, that move culture forward, that things that we celebrate. And then we find ourselves in these like weird places where like, okay, we really, really appreciate this one thing, but oh my gosh, like I can't believe that like they're also this person. One of the examples that she raises in this article is about Gandhi. And Gandhi, when he lived in South Africa, she talks about this in her Substack post. He's pretty racist against Black South Africans. And there was a school in Ghana that decided that they needed to remove the statue of Gandhi because of his racism. And it's in his story, and there's a question like, did it stay in his story? Because we know that Gandhi has a relationship with Howard Thurman and MLK. And so like, could it be that like he evolves and like, that may be out there, but I think again, there's this wrestling that we do when our heroes are not heroic, when our heroes have made not just small mistakes, but like major character flaws in their story. And Ava, I think, gives people a way to wrestle with this and to move forward in productive ways. And so this is where I lift it up as a way of sort of helping us move forward in these moments where things, again, our heroes really disappoint us. And thank you, Michael, in the background, as well as Sam Dolores Herta. That is the name of the activist who held this story about Cesar Chavez for so many years because she thought it would help the movement. And she finally came forward. I think she was 95 when she finally came forward to talk about the harm that he did and to their children as well. Okay, again, like the low light is what we found out about Cesar Chavez. The highlight is the heroism of Dolores coming forward. The highlight is Ava's Substack post that'll be both in the chat here, or in the comments rather, as well. And Allison's gonna make sure that it's a part of our highlights on Instagram tomorrow. So with that, friends, thanks for these highlights. We are now gonna go directly to, well, yeah, guys, thanks for the highlights. We're gonna go to announcements now. Let's go. It's sometimes hard doing those transitions, especially when you talk about a highlight like that. Like that's like a mid light. Like it's trying to emerge out of the low light, right? Like, so did my best. I did my best. Let's talk about tonight's announcement. One announcement: community group tonight. Community group's going to be awesome. Partly what's going to happen in community group tonight. Allison's going to be leading, and there's going to be a bit of an excerpt from this week's Studio Wesley Annex that Samuel over here is the host of, and you're going to hear Samuel's voice tonight. He's going to expound on some scripture that we'll talk about a little bit later here in Studio Wesley Live. So Samuel, thanks in advance for your contribution to community group. And if you want to join us for community group, it's going to be via Zoom. Going to start at 6:45 Eastern. Allison, like I said, is going to be leading. It's going to be a great, great night. So yeah, that's our announcement for tonight. And we are now going to go to story time. Let's go. Story time is one of our recurring segments where we get to hear a story from our producer for the night, and they're gonna tell us, give us a kind of a scenario, and then we're all gonna kind of expound on it. It's a blind listen. We've literally not heard this story yet, so we're all gonna do it. Is blind listen the term? Is there a better term?
That feels right.
Yeah, it feels ableist though. I'm not gonna lie. Blind listen feels a bit ableist.
Initial impression, initial hearing.
Yeah, without a lot of background info. Yeah.
First time listen, you know.
First time listen.
On
Beautiful.
the spot.
We're all
Fresh
doing our best
experience.
here. We're all doing our best here. Okay, Michael, give us our story. No, Michael, we don't hear you. No, we don't hear you at all, Michael. Not at all.
The joys of a live show.
Right? Nope.
My camera dies. Mike dies. You know.
Mike does
I almost
not
fell
die.
off my bed before we started. It was a whole
Yeah.
thing.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hey!
Now we can hear you.
Hey!
There you go.
Oh my goodness! All right, sorry y'all. We love that. All right, the crux of this one, as you can see already, am I overreacting for thinking my friend is using ChatGPT to text me in an argument? So there is like an added component to this one. We do have screenshots of the text that I'm going to be reading out. Did I just cut out again?
No,
Okay.
I have an idea of what Neil is thinking even as this starts.
Oh, it's just so funny. Like that's like
I'm
hearing
so
it read out.
excited for this
Hearing
one.
it read out loud makes me laugh even harder than the actual title. Please continue.
All right. I'm going to send a link to this one because there are screenshots of these text messages that I think will help, but I'm going to read them out loud for us. So in case anybody wants to see them, I'm posting the link in the comments. All right. So our texting exchange goes like this. Hey, are you able to text right now? Yo, what's up? Like actually talk, not just surface level stuff. Yes. And then we get the following text, which is the accusation for the ChatGPT. Let me provide a little bit of context first. The original poster said that these friends have known each other for 2 years. Their friendship has never been outside of the classroom. And she says, you can't tell me that this isn't AI writing in these long texts. I knew immediately in my gut, but I was busy and didn't read the whole conversation until a few hours later. Not even saying you have to read the full conversation. I just want confirmation that it is AI, and it was fair of me to not engage with her BS. That's the kind of question here. So the text in question, it says, okay, good, because I've been sitting with this for a couple days and it's starting to feel impossible to ignore. I don't want to come at you aggressively or anything. I'm genuinely trying to understand what's going on, but the dynamic between us has shifted noticeably lately and I need clarity. You've been spending way more time with so-and-so. I get it, new people are exciting, but the way you prioritize responding to her, the inside jokes popping up in your stories, the way you're suddenly busy when I try to hang out, but magically free when she's around, it's not subtle. And before you say, I'm just being nice to everyone, let's skip that part for once, because we both know the emotional bandwidth you're giving isn't distributed equally anymore. I'm not accusing you of cheating or whatever dramatic thing. I'm saying I feel like I've been quietly downgraded from best friend to background character in your life, while someone new gets the main character energy. Can we talk about this honestly, or is this the point where you're going to deflect again and tell me I'm overthinking? OP responds, I don't know. I hear you saying a lot about how I'm acting differently, but I don't really see it that way. I'm still the same with you as I've always been. If it feels off to you, maybe that's more about where you're at right now than anything I'm doing. I'm not trying to downgrade anyone, just living life and talking to people who are around. We're good though, right? The response is, okay, classic deflection. You flipped it on me, minimized everything I said, and now you're acting like I'm the one projecting. I laid out specific examples and you just blanket denied them. That tells me everything I need to know. If this is how you handle honesty by gaslighting and playing dumb, then yeah, we're clearly not on the same page anymore. I'm not chasing someone who's already checked out emotionally. Take care, I guess. We get a response. Wait a second, I just realized you've been using words like cheating, like we're in a relationship, combined with all those M dashes. I think you're totally using ChatGPT to text for you. And this person says, okay, fine. I said cheating once, but that was just a bad word choice. LOL. I mean, emotionally cheating on our friendship, not like actual relationship stuff. Chill. I'm not using ChatGPT. WTF? That's so random. Why would I even need that to talk to my best friend? I just type fast and think about what I'm saying. That's all you're reaching so hard right now. If you want to turn this around on me instead of admitting you've been switching up them, whatever, I'm over it for real. And then we get a response back, GTFO, this is going to sound like invalidation, but you seriously need to get out of your head about all this. Final answer, I have nothing to say, and I feel no different towards you. And that's kind of where our conversation ends. So I guess there's a couple questions here. One, do we agree or not agree with the ChatGPT? Is that being used? Is it a problem if it is? And then the person that posted this is specifically asking, was it fair because of that to then not engage with their friend? So a couple questions going on. Take it away.
My God, today I have so many questions about this. Do we know how old these people are?
I'm inferring like just out of high school. So around 18, 19. That's based off of them saying like they mentioned they've known each other since grade 12 or around there. So yeah.
Can you also re-say they've only been friends in a class?
So part of their post says, I've known her for 2 years and our friendship has never left school, grade 12. I don't know if that's like a subtle jab of like, oh, we've never grown past senior year or whatever, right? But that's all we have.
All right, Sam, your thoughts.
I have a lot of thoughts that I'm trying to organize in order.
Same.
I have a lot of thoughts. Because first of all, Mike, how you read that, the first time I heard it, I thought you were saying they never left the classroom. Like they're like class friends, which is a very big thing in high school and college. Like there's people you don't see outside, which if that's true, what is any of this? What's happening? You are not, to use Derek Scott and the relational model.
Oh God.
Y'all are at different expectations of what this is.
Absolutely.
You think this is way deeper than it's supposed to be, and it's not. And if you're just class friends, like I have lots of class friends who, if they started saying that I was like emotionally cheating on them, regardless of if you're using AI, already a crazy take. Now, I at first was like, I don't know if this is ChatGPT, because I, especially when I'm upset, I write long things and I have a very specific way of writing. So I was like, it could not be. But then when the person gets called out on it and completely changes their language, I was like, oh, that sucks. Oh, I actually do think it's AI. And like, separate, again, I have so many jumbled thoughts. Separate thing. Don't immediately assume an M dash is ChatGPT. I'd love an M dash. Don't do that. It's not necessarily AI, but also it doesn't sound like in the last text they have M dashes. So I do think it's AI. I would see that as a huge problem. I already have my opinions about using AI, but specifically, regardless of any of that, if you're using anything to help you like prepare to have a conversation with me, I'm already gonna be really upset about it. Like I understand talking to people, I understand making drafts, I do that all the time. But like using a tech assistant to talk to me, something's already wrong. And so I have a lot of questions about their previous relationship before this whole thing blew up.
Neil, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up again. Like I noticed the same thing Sam did, which is like, and you know, like I can't say I've ever used an M dash like in text messages. You know, like I'm more of like overusing commas, dots, and like separating things out. But I know that people have their feelings about M dashes because it tends to be used by ChatGPT. But the fact that here's why I'm certain that is right. Looking at the person like actually type. You know what I mean? It's like I could tell which messages are them and which ones feel like more than them, right? And even if they're like, how do I use using ChatGPT to say like, well, how should I say this? And like they're so like the fact that they're using so much more like I don't know, like for lack of a better term, like highfalutin language, you know what I mean? They're using words like, emotional bandwidth you're giving isn't distributed equally anymore. I'm not accusing you, blah, blah, blah. Or like, okay, classic deflection, right? And then you see their actual response and it's like, okay, there's no capitalization, there is no punctuation, and you're going to tell me that this is the same person who just is like punctuating everything pretty much perfectly and is using like M dashes and like all this other stuff? No, that's not the same person. You don't just go, like there's no consistency in that. You don't go from typing out everything super perfectly in the moment to not a single capitalized letter or punctuation or anything. That's not the same person. That's somebody using AI to try to help them like in this argument. Like it, yeah. And as for whether or not they're right for not engaging, I mean, I don't know. I think I definitely would. And yeah, speaking of the relational thing, it's like this is not a space where like either one should be expecting the same thing of the other. You know what I mean? Like that's not the way this goes. All right. Y'all are in different boxes. All right. And they need to be like, hey, listen, yeah, like we're in a different box. This is not, this ain't it. Like, what are we talking about here? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like if you want to talk to me like a human being, because going back, let's see, like actually talk, not just surface level stuff. Okay, cool. Then let's actually talk. Let's meet up in person. Let's talk on the phone or on a video call or something. You know what I mean? Like if it's that important to you, you will talk about it there, not over text. And that's just how I am. I'm like, if you got something to say to me, say it to my face or voice to voice. And yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably remove myself from that situation, not just because I think that like the person's kind of being a little weird about it, but also because hey, you're using AI to talk to me. You wanted to talk, we need to actually talk.
So on one hand, I'm like struggling because like I feel like there's so many like layers and so much like questions and like things happening. I mean, I'm like, there's something in this conversation that's about maturity, and that's why I asked the questions like how old they were, because it's hard to imagine the conversation going down this way with like 30 somethings or even mid 20 somethings, like, which is more folks in Studio Wesley universe. Like they really do feel, it really does sound like two people who are still, and I'm going to come back to this point in a second, still figuring out what adult relationships look like. And how they function. I'll come back to that. But there's another thing about like both the use of an external source, and we can talk about ChatGPT as being that external source, but I mean, guys, y'all got friends, and maybe y'all have even done this, where like you're reading something in a book and like it resonates, like that's the problem with our relationship, and then you like pull that quote out of the book and like send it to the person you've got this issue with, right? Or you saw this meme, or so like ChatGPT, like the fact that they're using ChatGPT, like okay, but also we've all used external sources to try to help us enunciate the things that we didn't have words to say. And so I'm not as upset with them for using ChatGPT. I think both of these individuals are really unskilled at relational maintenance. And if this is true, welcome to being human, because most humans are unskilled at being in relationships. We don't think that to be true because humans have existed for a long time and we've existed within relationships for a long time. And that means we can actually be bad at it. we can, it's not necessarily innate. And in fact, so often the way relationships have worked is via power dynamics, that the power dynamic has made a relationship work. But when we're actually trying to be mutual, when we're trying to respect each other, when we're trying to actually be in a true relationship with expectations and things like that, oh gosh, we actually have to learn. And so I think the deal here, I mean, the question was, am I, could you put the question back up there, Michael? Because I need to see the question again so I can respond to it directly. There we go. Yes. No, I don't think you're out of line for thinking that your friend is using ChatGPT, but I just want to say, I think you both are inexperienced at how to make a friendship or whatever it is work. Let me also say, I've been this person's friend. I have been this person's friend who has used the external source to say the things that I've been trying to say. And this is where I look back at Derek, and the thing that Derek needed to hear it happened when I was 14, and again when I was 17, and again when I was 22, and again when I was 26. Might have even happened in my 30s. And the thing that Derek needed to hear is, this is not how you even do the confrontation. This is not it. And you're hurt, and we got to deal with that, but this is not how we do the confrontation. We've got to find another way. And I hope that both of these friends will expand their circle. I hope that both of these friends will really, really try to figure out the better way of dealing with the breakdown. And as Neil said, that might be it. This might be it. This might be the signal that we've just got to change the dynamic completely. But I think really at the base, we just got to be better. We just got to be better at relationships. I feel that feels very harsh right now, but being the friend here who did it, that's my answer. Okay, so we'll take one moment. Sam, Neil, anything else you want to add?
I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but regardless, I'm going to stand by it. I agree with everything you just said, Derek. And my additive, because in the beginning you were like, I don't know if necessarily using chat is the problem. And my thing is, what you said at the end, I think the way to learn that is to not immediately run to external sources. I think running to outside sources, especially like AI, is different than a book or some other form of media where like, oh, I had the moment of relating this situation to what's happening right now. That is me connecting those things. That's part of, I think, growth. This is like a piece of tech that is giving you an answer to how to deal with this dynamic. And I think that hinders you being able to grow in this moment and like figure it out on your own. Like I think if you have the instinct in that moment, if you're in a hardship moment of like, I need to figure out this dynamic and it's not working, this conversation isn't working, and your instinct is to go to an AI that can give you an answer, I think you need to take a step back and be like, whoa, what is this showing me? Because one, there's no right answer. And two, if you keep looking for that right answer without doing your own critical thinking about it, you're never going to be able to get better at this dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Spot on, Sam. Neil.
Yeah, basically the same thing. It's like critical thinking is such like an important aspect of life, and being able to like look at these external sources and like pieces of whatever it's a piece of media, like a show or a song or like like a book or something, right? And to be able to read a story and comprehend that story and also relate that thing to like your situation, which maybe will help you garner some better level of understanding. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like I like a few years ago, I was having like this massive like conflict with like a couple of friends, and it seemed like every single piece of media that I was like watching, whether or not I knew it, like just sort of helped like unlock the thing where it's like, oh, like these characters are having a similar thing to what I'm going through right now, which this helps me to understand what I should be doing or try to do, like moving forward. And that's me, like, not to sound mean, but that's me like using my brain, whereas I think the use of Chat GPT like kind of allows people to not use their brain and not take the time to do that and to do self-reflection, and instead take a shortcut to what they feel like is a more immediate answer, because we live in a world now of immediate gratification. You can go on your phone, right? And like immediately the whole world is at your fingertips. You can watch any show, you can watch any movie. You don't need to go out to a theater or leave your house. You can order things on Amazon. I was literally complaining today because I'm like, I feel like Amazon almost is becoming a necessity in life, which I hate, because sometimes, like I bought a little coffee grinder the other day. I go to their website, I click on their store, it links me to their Amazon. They don't have their own personal store to run out of. And that really sucks. And there's a lot of things like that. And there are certain things like, you can either go out to a store and hopefully find it, or you can get it on Amazon, get it tomorrow, And I think like being in a world where everything is so immediate, that Chat GPT is only further accelerating the immediacy and the immediate gratification that people are seeking, and it's leading them not to just sort of sit down and think for themselves.
Yeah.
Like I told the story last week. A guy was asking Chat GPT how to set his chair in his car, because he was like, well, how do I know what's comfortable? I'm like, brother, you're sitting in it, Anyways, brains, folks.
Great story time. Let's go to a soul break, and then we'll be right back. So it's been a really, really great show. And as we're beginning to close, I, sort of out of that story time and even my highlight, I just want to sort of say, like, again, like the world is hard right now for a lot of us. And some of that is like a lot of external stuff and just things happening in the world and even happening in cities. But some of it's like our relationships, right? Like some of it's like literally the things that are happening right around us. And sometimes when things fall apart, we think that it is because of us. Like, and we can contribute for sure. Like we can definitely, we can be a part of the dysfunction. And there's definitely a part of maturity that asks that question, like, how am I contributing negatively to this situation? And that's a really important thing. But even in asking that question, I have had to work really, really hard. And I hate that to say how hard I've had to work, but I had to work really, really hard to recognize that sometimes things fall apart, because things do fall apart. I think I told some of y'all that last year, 2025 was one of the toughest years of my life. And it really was one of the toughest years of my life. The thing that kept me going was realizing that sometimes things are just tough. And it's not because I'm bad or because I've done bad things. Like, I mean, I contributed, I'm sure, in some not positive ways sometimes, but sometimes things fall apart. And I really do hope that you'll listen to Studio Wesley Annex this week, because Sam's take on the Ezekiel 37 text kind of speaks to some of this in the ways that like the institutions that we've come to believe in and support are falling apart. I think people feel this way about our country. I think people feel this way about politics. They feel this way about the education system, but you could feel this way about your family. You could feel this way about your friendships. You could feel, and this is the story and the question that the prophet Ezekiel asks, can these bones even live? Like, can anything good come out of all of this dysfunction and all of this just like crumbling? And on one hand, I want to say that it's very okay to be like, I don't know. On another hand, I really want to remind you, hey, things fall apart again. It's not all on you. And we can get some distance. But the last thing that I want to say to this is that I love the answer that's inside of Ezekiel 37. Yes. Inside of Ezekiel 37 is a yes, but these things come back together. These bones come back to life in a different way. And what I think we have to all be ready for, in addition to recognizing that things do fall apart and it's not our fault, things do come back to life. And how are we going to celebrate that? How are we going to look for that? How are we going to contribute positively to that? I feel like that's what's inside of like the Ava DuVernay Substack post. I feel like that's the way that you work on repair when there's been rupture in a relationship. The way that things are going to recover and the way things are going to get better, they won't look like the way they did. Things are going to be different. But even different can be better if we're willing to lean into that. And so my prayer for you all is to, one, as the world continues possibly to get bad, I wish it wasn't going to get worse, but it might. No, that it's not all about you. It hasn't all happened because of you. It's not because you're bad. Things do fall apart, but things can get better. But let's welcome the new thing. Let's welcome the new things that are coming, and let's contribute to them in a way that, our world, our lives, the institutions, they can be better than they were before. Okay. That's my prayer for y'all this week. Thanks for hanging out for Studio Wesley Live. Sam, Neil, thanks for being on this panel. Michael, thanks for being in the background. Thanks, folks who are watching us live. Folks, hang out in community group, and we'll be back next week, 6 p.m. for Studio Wesley Live. Remember, you are deeply loved by God, and nothing can separate you from God's love. All right, friends, have a good one. Be well.